Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to make an affordable inline spinner at home that you can use for catching salmon and steelhead um, anywhere in the Pacific Northwest. I've caught a lot of salmon and steelhead on these spinners. They're not difficult to make, and you can go to the store and you can buy a number 4 Blue Fox spinner, and it'll set you back $3.50, $4, and here you can make this spinner for a little bit under $2, and it doesn't take any sort of level of expertise. Just got to be able to use a pair of pliers. So I'll go through today the equipment. I get all of my tackle that I use for building the spinners. Almost all of it comes off of Lure Parts Online except for the hook. So I'll go through and I'll make sure I give you the part numbers and be specific about which size of parts that I use when building the spinner. So the first thing you're going to need is a swivel, a black swivel. I use a size number 10. I use black. You can use nickel, it doesn't really matter. But these are rated to 30 pounds, so they'll hold up pretty well. These cost about 6 cents a piece, so they're pretty affordable. Next, you're going to need a blade for your spinner. I like these French blades. They're a little bit longer. There's other shaped blades you can use that will get your spinner to run deeper or more shallow. These also come in a hammered version. But what I really like about these spinner blades from lurepartsonline.com is that they use a real silver and gold finish on them, so it's not just nickel plated, so it doesn't tarnish as quickly, and I think it gives it a better shine. So you'll need a size number 4 of those, and those cost about 60 cents a piece. You're also going to need a size number 3 split ring, which is rated to 25 pounds. They come in black or nickel finish, and those are about 6 cents a piece. And then it's hard to see here, but I have a little tiny metal hollow bead. It's actually 3 of 32 inch in diameter, so it's pretty tiny. It's a size 0 bead. I think they come in nickel and in gold plated, or the silver and gold plated. But what I really like about these is it's just a really easy way to basically make a bearing for your blade. Speaking of what that rides on is this little clevis here. You'll need a size 4 clevis, and I guess I should say that these little beads here only cost you about 1 cent, so they're super affordable. The clevis is what you'll put your spinner blade on. You need a size number 4 clevis, and again, I think these come in gold and nickel plated. Those run about 27 cents a piece. Finally, you're also going to need a wire shaft. This is basically what holds all the components of the spinner together. And I use a 3-inch long wire. If you're just starting out, you maybe should go with a 4-inch, because then it just gives you a little bit more play. It's easier to work with. And it's a 0.031 inch diameter wire, and it has an open eye on the bottom. And that's pretty important because that helps in making it simpler to put the pieces together. Next comes a pretty important part, is the lure body itself. Now, I like to buy these really cheap, well, I wouldn't say cheap, but affordable painted lead lure bodies. This is a 1/4 ounce lead lure body. They have them painted. They pre-sell them that way on lurepartsonline.com. Each one costs just about 50 cents a piece, and they come in a lot of really great steelhead and salmon colors. There's pink, orange, there's this purple color, there's a dark red, black even, especially like if you're fishing in really clear waters. All those colors are great. I really like these, the dark reds and purples for my summer steelhead, and then I'll switch over to the pink bodies and such for my winter steelhead, but also great for catching things like coho and chinook. So yeah, there's a bunch of colors to pick from. You can also buy unpainted bodies and paint them yourself, or you can even, they actually have other lure bodies of similar shape and weight that are brass, copper, etc. So there's a lot of options there, so you can customize the spinner to the colors that you want. And then finally, a hook. I use a size 2.0 hook. I really like these hooks here by Angler Innovations. As many people know, here in the Pacific Northwest, we're moving to barbless hooks through a lot of our river systems. And these are actually a semi-barbless hook that have a little bit of like an etching, so it sort of gives you a little bit of extra grip once you've driven that hook into the mouth of the fish. And these have been okayed by ODF&W and WDF&W, both the Washington, Oregon state, as legal to use in barbless rivers. I like these hooks too also because they have this really unique shape on the bottom. It's really similar actually to the big river bait hooks that Gamatsu produces, which are probably also one of my favorite hooks. And yeah, it's just a great hook. I've been catching lots of fish with these and not losing them. That really haven't been affected too much by the barbless rule. So yeah, just a little plug for them. I think it's a great local company doing good things. All right, so let's put this thing together. So the first thing you want to do is you want to pick up. Oh, I should say you'll need a couple pieces of equipment. You need a pair of pliers. I prefer pliers that have a fairly narrow tip on the end. That's important when it comes to wrapping, making the wrap on the top of this wire where we're going to attach everything. But also you'll need one with the adapter for removing and putting hooks on split rings. So this one I just don't like for wrapping because it's a little too broad here on the end. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our wire and we're just going to slide that split ring here and just slide it down, and you can go either way, the short way or the long way, but you just want that split ring down here on the end of that open eye. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slide the lead lure body down. And you can pinch these wires with your fingers a lot of the times, but sometimes it can be a little bit difficult because it's pretty resistant, it's a pretty strong wire. So I like to grab a hold of that with a pair of pliers. And pushing it up inside that lead lure body, there's a hole there. I'm just going to slide that all the way down until it's firmly planted. So now what we've done, we basically put together the lower half of the spinner. We got the lead lure body, which is going to hold this split ring in place, which is going to hold our hook. I put the hook on last because I just don't want to deal with getting jabbed by the hook the whole time putting the spinner together. But you can put it on first. It's just personal preference. Okay, so the next thing is we want to put this bead here and slide it down the shaft to sit on top of the lead lure body. Okay, so there you go, there's the bead. Slide that down to the top. The next step is to take your blade, and you want to make sure that when you slide the blade on that you got this outer convex surface facing outward, because you want this concave surface facing in towards the lure body, because as this spins, that's what's going to reflect the light of your lure body back towards the fish and strike and cause that strike. So now I'm going to take that clevis and run it down. Run those two holes through my shaft of the wire shaft. There you go. So we got a nice action on there that with that clevis and that bead, this spins really nicely. Okay, so the next step then is probably the most challenging for people just starting out, and that's where I think having this longer wire is going to help. I'm using the 3-inch wire, but what I like to have between the top of my blade, or to the top of the clevis, to where I'm going to attach the swivel so I can tie it to my main line. I like to have about 1/4 of an inch. If you go any more, to me there's a risk, because then this lead lure body might be able to slide up and allow that hook to pop off. I've never had that happen, even on some of my earlier spinners that were not as well made. But it's just something I like to do. So, just put, take your wire, grip it just a little bit above there, and then you're going to wrap this wire around the tip and almost make a complete loop. This is where the longer wire comes in handy, but I guess I'm just trying to be a cheapie, and so I'm just going to wrap that around that tip. So you see, I get almost a complete loop made here on this end, and that's where next I'm going to slide this black crane swivel, slide right up there. Okay, and then I'm going to grip really tightly right where that wire starts to bend back out that way. I'm just going to wrap it as tight as I can 3 times, if I can get 3 times. There we go. Okay. So now I have a little bit of a tag end of the wire. I'm just going to cut that off as close as I can. That way if I get into a native fish, I'm not chewing up his mouth. Okay. So we've got a lot of the main components put together now. We have this black swivel, which you can use to tie to your main line. It's wrapped in here in this little loop. Then we have the clevis with the blade attached. Our bead, which basically acts like a bearing, the lead lure body, and our split ring at the bottom. So the last thing I need to do is just attach that hook, which is a piece of cake with this split ring. If you put it on earlier, then you're pretty much done. So I'll just grab a hold of this split ring there, and if you buy a hook that has an open eye on it, then it's just a matter of crimping it down on. Angler Innovations is in the process of making those, and I'll probably want to use those when I get to that point. But just want to slide the hook on. And once I got the hook in there, I just take my smaller pliers. Those other ones are too big and bulky, and just rotate that. Okay, so there's a completed spinner right there. And you can go up in size on the blades and bodies. You can go up to a size 5 or 6 if you're looking to target Chinook, or even big steelhead, or you can go smaller. These are great for catching trout, and sometimes even steelhead, like those smaller size 3 spinners as well, if you're fishing smaller waters. So there you go. That's a less than $2 spinner, and you can put it together in a few minutes. You can build a bunch of them and trade with them for other lures with your buddies. This spinner design right here has been proven to me time and time again on various rivers here in the Northwest. In fact, this exact color combination caught back-to-back springers on the San Am this spring. So yeah, it's a great and easy lure to make, easy to fish, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll try to put together some more in the future.